Salutations. I put this away. I had my sword out recently due to the fact that I've been going through something personal that is very, very positive. But that has taken me away from some of the things I've been doing on social media. And since something positive is happening in my life, here comes the cluster attacks. That's how it works, you know. People getting upset about this and that, or attacking, trolling, all these other things. For example, you know, if you don't like the fact that I wear sunglasses doing these videos, well then just move on. Don't bother sending me messages and complaining. When you're watching for free, it's free information that's spawned, that's to have other people do their research. That's what this whole channel is about, alright? So, moving on from that, I'm putting away my blade because I'm Generation X, alright? I started chewing some people out. I'm not going to take the trolls. I signed no signature that says I have to deal with fools. So I wind up, you know, tearing up a few people. And I apologize if you're one of those people that didn't deserve it and got caught in that. But I pulled away from that now, back on track. Anyway, that's something positive, alright? I am going to be speaking at a conference in Helen, Georgia, August the 26th to the 29th. And I think it's going to be a really nice event. There are going to be many speakers there, a lot of well-known people. I think it'll be fun and a good experience to kind of break us away from this virus epic that we're having here. So that's just something I wanted to throw out. The ladies, I can't remember everybody's name, but the main one is Christy Calais, I believe it's pronounced. She's the main organizer, and they're just doing a really good job promoting and trying to bring a different panel of people together to speak that's not so mainstream. So I think that's pretty cool. And I support what they're doing. I want everybody to know if you want to meet in person, that's a chance to do it. I enjoy the conferences for that the most. Anyway, moving forward, all right. A few weeks ago, I don't know, a month ago or so, I got a call from Alexis Brookes. Very cool sister, very aware, experiencer, contactee herself. Every now and again, she just picks up the phone and calls me. And we have really cool conversations. This time she called and she says, Barry, what can you tell me about UFO Mitosis? Now, using that word I found fascinating, all right, because I've done some videos, if you go back on this channel, and look like one is called UFO Propagation and Reproduction. So I've dealt with this to a degree, but I haven't used the term mitosis, cell division. Very interesting, and I think that's quite accurate. So whatever experiencer, contactee came up with that, thumbs up on that, definitely. But taking this and correlating this to my personal experiences, all right, and I will kind of tie this into a couple of videos, including that last one I just mentioned, propagation and reproduction of UFOs. So this here is this craft I've shown you many times. I'm not going to go real into that. When I got brought into this craft, there is a door here that you can see. I got sucked by a blue beam, goldish beam into that door, and inside that door was this room. Alright, I've shown you this room before that I called the anti-gravity room. Now it had this blue beam, it had this black box with these things that look like carbon tubes coming out of it, coming up into it. This thing was sitting at an angle. When I looked up at it, first of all, it's very big. It made me sick. Temporal aphasia. This is this room. And something I want to quote about this room is that the illustration done by Christine Dennett, very good, but it doesn't show quite the size of it. It's hard to conceptualize that just from a drawing. But this room was big. It seemed like the size of a cargo bay. All right, now that is a trip, because for me, the first thing I'm thinking is this looked bigger than what I was inside of. Okay, just this room alone looked bigger than this craft did floating in the sky when I saw it. So this, and I'm picking up while I'm in there, is that it's possible for another craft to be grown in here. Okay, I've described how the crafts are grown, the substances that they're made of, these minerals, okay, these minerals that are mined on planets devoid of Van Allen belts, okay, and these minerals have a different type of a resistance. So you got metamaterials is what they would be, okay, and if that is combined with a type of a fungus with a type of a crystal, quasi-crystals, something similar to our science is growing now, and added with also DNA from the crew. I meant how this 4-stage compound is grown over a MECO, magnetic eternally collapsing object, as Dr. Rudy Shields calls them, as opposed to black holes. So that is something there about this craft, all right, that I had said. But that also leads to this room. I believed it was. Now, I'm going to keep it real with you. I did not see another UFO or a ship growing in here, but I had definitely the feeling that that's what it was capable of. This would also have been more in the belly of the craft. So I think when we're dealing with these organisms, and we're talking about mitosis and reproduction, it takes us back to the sentient craft I've been talking about, organic craft, since before I even came public with this, all right? So this is very important, and in the sentient UFO craft video I just did probably a month ago, released anyway, I talked a lot about how I underestimated the amount of sentience that was actually going into this craft, how it's more than just what I thought was just a microbiological aspect. So for that, check out the video called Energy Zoa. On that, I talked a lot about critters and what is also what appear to be flagellums, the rods, the critters, and the things that were seen on infrared and ultraviolet around orgo machines and around cloudbusters and things like that. I'll put a few of those pictures up. That was work done by Wilhelm Reich and Trevor Constable. Sorry. Anyway, so going on, that is another aspect of these things that may not always be craft, but be life forms. Those are not like the craft I've been on board. I think they're more like microorganisms, like amoeba, flagellums, things that exist in our atmosphere of vibration and density off. Okay, so that's not the same as the advanced craft I'm talking about as well. There's a slight difference there, and I want to make sure that's separated here, because I believe those are more a natural phenomenon, like looking into pond scum, pond water through a microscope, like 400x or so, and seeing all the amoebas and everything moving around. That's what I think we have in our atmosphere. So I want to take that and put that separate, and also kind of tie maybe this more into another video on this channel, YouTube channel, the NASA tether incident. That you have all those balls floating around that tether. Those look like more of the organism type. All right, so that's something I wanted to take separate from what I'm talking about here. These craft and the craft I just described to you, being how they're constructed. There's a consciousness. The intention of the crew as well is also involved in making this craft and evolving it. So I don't know how far that goes with the sentience, but it's definitely a symbiotic connection there. Make no mistake about that. So anyway, taking that a step forward, where are my notes here? UFO swarms, I've talked about that a little bit. That's something else that we see quite a bit right now, and it's becoming more prevalent right now. I'm seeing a lot of reports of UFO swarms. I've done a video of that on the channel, but that's, again, you're seeing what appears to be a type of mitosis, division of cells. And let's not confuse this with when I've talked about the quantum hologram, and you've got one UFO there, and then suddenly there's two, and then there's one again, and that one's gone. That's the quantum hologram, when you have some of these ships that were actually changing frequency and going through one of these wormholes, one of these MACOs, they're actually hit that quantum hologram, so what you're seeing is a projection. It appears there too, and then that one disappears, and then the hologram itself is gone. So that's something that's different. That is not the same as the mitosis that we're talking about here, and the cellular reproduction of a craft, which is slightly different. Dealing with organisms, and without going too far left on this, I've been talking a lot about how this craft I found through talking to real scientists that I'm dealing with beings that are from another universe. Not all of them, but some of them, and some of these craft as well. And talking about it being on board a craft that can choose the path of most coherency that it goes through, in terms of a MACO, in terms of a wormhole, black hole, whatever you want to call it. Actually going through that, this craft can choose the most coherent path and then go through. That's an entire different sentience than what we're familiar with. Definitely beyond the critter level, all right? And to a point I've said before in the other videos, one of the reasons I believe I'm allowed to walk around on these craft. I'm not hardly even being escorted, but I'm so sick. It was like, you know, not that big of a deal as far as I'm not going to do a whole lot that sick. I'm going to throw up before anything. But nonetheless, I'm moving around because the craft itself, I'm pretty sure it knows my soul life memories. Just this way a lot of entities here, creatures, have access to the soul life memory, or to the race memory. And they can go back. Like the crows that I fed 30 years ago, the crows in that area seem like they still recognize me. They pass that race memory on, that genetic memory. It seems that humanity is the one that's really isolated from that. And if you're dealing with something that is traveling between universes, it means they probably it has universal knowledge of our soul life memories. Man, that's heavy. That's where it's at. That's what we're talking about, real contact now. And I'm not the only one. There's a lot of other people that are talking to me, that are coming forward and having this or type of a contact at this level. You know, anyway, so I'm going to wrap this up now. Check out the other videos. I'll try to link a few of them up there. Thanks to Alexis and everybody. Thanks to Alexis for bringing the term UFO mitosis to my attention. And this gives me a chance to kind of go in a little bit deeper on a video or about the subject than just simply saying it's reproduction. But we're dealing with something that is dealing with these beings, collective consciousness, and reproduction, and actually making a craft in a different type of a way. And when you're dealing with civilizations, several different civilizations, whether it's universal, galactic, they're coming with intent to make some of this technology that makes it consciousness, makes it live. You know, this is important, and I think this is the next level we're going to with contact. So, all right, I want to give a thanks to everybody. Please subscribe. Please press the like button. If you're already a subscriber, go back and hit that bell so you get notified if I put something else out. I want to give a thanks to my people on Patreon. It's because of them that these videos are still going on. I'm making this one and putting directly to YouTube from there. So thanks to them. Peace.